Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Widiyanti Rahayu, and now I will do a presentation. And in this presentation, I will discuss about the city in the sea by Edgar Allan, and by the title is Dead City. What is psychological criticism? Psychological criticism in literature is to the way in which the work of a particular writer and analyzed through a psychological lens. This approach psychologically analyzes the author of the work or character in his work. It helps the readers understand the motivations of the writer as well as the character. In other words, this criticism helps us to understand why the writer reads the way he does. How have his biographical circumstances affect his writing, and why do characters in the story behave in a particular way? However, we must be careful when using this critique to evaluate a work. The person analyzing in this work must be careful not to project any personal psychological problems into the analysis. Next, about the author. Before analyzing poetic work, I first to see who Edgar Allan Poe is. Edgar Allan Poe was born January 1989 and died October 7, 1849. His life was really dark and sad. His father lived at the age of 1, then at the age of 2 his mother died. After that he was adopted by the rich family of John Allan. He joined the army, became a freelance writer, and also became an editor for his own poetry. The discussion in the first stanza of the city in the sea from Freud's analytical theory, we can find out the emotion of the soul contained in poetry. In this poem, there is a gloomy feeling about death. This is found in the first book that has reached himself a throne and a strange city lying alone far down within the dim west. That feeling is described through the personification of death. It is from this personification that the unconscious appears in that line. He has created a throne for himself. It's located in Strange City, which is within the west. From the first 3 lines, it's clear that that has a very important position in this landscape. Next, the second stanza. And the second stanza goes into more detail about the city, the light that illuminates the city, and what kind of sight one might see there. Speaker explained that there was no heavenly light in the city. However, there is another kind of light to be found there. The light that hit the city did not emanate from the sky, but the light of calamity that came from the lurid sea. It has a bright but not very pleasing color. Light comes from the sea and hits the silent turret. The subdued light is expanded on to next lines as Poe uses the more general anaphor and repetition to list the place the light touches. It follows the domes, parks, and kingly halls of the city. It also does up shadowy, long-forgotten bowers, and many a marvelous train trip. Despite the dark description of this place, it this place also appeared magically and anciently in another world. In the next, the third stanza. In this stanza, we can see that the writer mentioned melancholy and also the place where he lived. It felt different and weird if we look in Alan's private life. We may know that Alan is often to get sad and melancholy because of his mental illness and also when he's still a boy and get adopted. Alan feels less comfortable in his new environment with the parents who adopt him. This stanza may describe his uncomfort life and also his feeling. In the next, the fourth stanza, the city in the sea begins with the description of often fans are churches and cabin grave. The use of alliteration in this and other lines benefit the overall rhythm of the poem. This is especially impactful when the poem begins to conclude part of this feature and church and the cemetery are open and level with the wave. Anyone would go inside and look what was inside, but no one did. Treated their deadline, not tempting he water for their bed. Next, fifth stanza. Suddenly, at the beginning of the fifth stanza, something changed. There is movement in the water, no longer fiercely serene like before. The water starts to shine around the city and things start to change. Towers seem to have moved a bit, something very unusual as it should be described in other poems. The light from the water changed, appearing redder than before. The time passed different. His breath also personified fine love as squared everything in the city. The city began to move. There are no earthly moon from the fleeing earth. Instead, the city began to sink down, down to zero under the sea. The last line tells the reader that the city of death will be honored by hell. And the conclusion, the poet further presents two important aspects of death. First and foremost, it is above human desire, great hunger and wealth. It is rich in not having great or riches. Second, that takes us to our origin or the source or another. It is in the sea that life germinates and when we die, it goes back to the sea. I think that's enough for my presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.